Salut! You've successfully received your business visa, you've moved to France, you've settled down, and you're now wondering whether you've missed an important part of this jigsaw, which could backfire when you want to renew your business visa in a year's time. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 must-do things to successfully renew your business visa in a year's time in France, whether it's a visa talent or visa profession libérale. I thought it was time to record a video on this topic, as I've recently came across several expats who've been in France for 6 to 7 months and for whom there's no business registered, yet they might have been already trading with or without invoicing. That's a big no-no in France. They've made no turnover declaration, no URSSAF declaration so far, and they don't have a health cover. I'm not judging here, as sometimes you don't know what is compulsory and what isn't compulsory, especially because the rules in your country work differently and sometimes you think they're the same in France, and you might have expected some help from your accountant, your lawyer, your relocation company, and you've heard no news from them. Knowing that you have to submit your business visa renewal 2 to 3 months before the expiry date of your visa, this leaves them in a very tricky situation where we have 2 to 3 months to fix it all, and knowing that France is hitting the summer season, July, August, where everything's going to get quiet, that's going to be very stressful. I'll add a PDF below this video recapping those 10 steps so you can just tick them as you go along. Your first step is to find a long-term address. That's your priority number one. It's quite likely that you've booked an Airbnb or Gîte for a month or two to settle down in France, and now you need to put 100% of your energy into finding a long-term address somewhere where you're happy to stay for at least 6 months so you can settle down with your admin in France. You can look at some of the French websites like Jinka, that's my favorite, which is an app on your phone, or Se Loger, but it's going to be tricky as an expat to rent a place if you're competing with French people, because we tend to have a dossier like this to apply for a rental property. So my advice is more to work with an agency renting properties for expat, because they know how to prepare the dossier for that will be accepted by the landlord, and also look at Guarantee to help you get a guarantee. So focus on the address, and I have 2 tips for you. The first one is that you want to avoid moving several times. Now I'm going to repeat it because I see it too often. Stop moving when you move to France. Find a place and settle down for 6 months, because we need to have some admin trail for your residency, for your business. And if you start moving around, you're going to mess up your business, you're going to be messing up your health cover. So find the address where you're happy to stay for at least 4 to 6 months and see it as a stepstone. You're going to be looking maybe for a property to buy. You're going to be looking at whether you like the area. But if you move too much, this is going to make things complicated. And my second tip is that you want to get a utility bill in your name. So by utility bill, we mean water, gas, electricity. If you're renting somewhere short term, it can be tricky to get, but if it's a long-term contract, like a furnished place that you can cancel within a month, you can get your utility bill, like EDF is a very good one for electricity, or get what we call the quittance de loyer. Quittance de loyer is like a rental receipt that your landlord is going to give you every month when you pay your rent. You want that quittance de loyer because, again, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like something that you've been printing on your printer, but this is going to help you secure a bank account. This is going to be used as well when we want to register your business, that proof of an address. Your second step is to open a bank account. This one can be tricky, and it can only happen once you've got a long-term rental contract, that famous quittance de loyer or the utility bill that I just mentioned. Once you have those, it'd be much easier to actually open a bank account, because you have a permanent address and the bank will start talking to you. For some of you, we might even have to wait until you've registered the business, because once we have this, again, we've got another proof that you've got permanent business in France, and that will be easier to open a bank account. Now, go for a traditional brick and mortar bank, the local banks that you can find in your town, and usually they tend to be Crédit Agricole, BNP Paribas, CIC, Crédit Mutuel. Look at the agencies around you. Online banks such as N26, Revolut, BoursoBank, Nickel, they won't want to hear from you until you have a brick and mortar bank, because those traditional banks are going to check your ID, check that you're a French resident, and for them it's a sign of safety. So focus on the personal bank account that you will use to pay your personal bills, and make sure you use that account. So initially you might transfer some money from home on that personal account, but make sure you pay your utility bills and your rent from that account, that you can start showing that you are living from France. The next step is to validate your visa within 3 months of your arrival in France. Again, I want you to have a permanent address before you do this. It makes things easier, but remember to validate your visa online with OFI, Office Français de l'Immigration et de l'Intégration, for those of you who have a visa profession libérale, and you will then be invited for a visit with OFI. And for those of you with a profession libérale, you want to do this sooner than later because OFI is pretty slow at inviting you for this meeting. So you are aiming to get your OFI visit within the first 3 months of your arrival in France, for which you will get a convocation for your medical visit by email. If you haven't heard anything from them within 6 weeks or 8 weeks of validating your visa online, make sure you call them or you email them so you look for the OFI details in your area. That's very important because for your visa renewal, you will need to have a proof that you did go to this meeting and that you did go for the medical visit. For those of you who have a visa talent, you also have to register and validate your long stay visa online within 90 days. You can see in your passport where you have your visa talent, usually above it you have another sticker with a QR code showing you what to do, and basically you're going to scan that QR code. Once you complete information, you get an attestation that it has been validated. You will then have to resubmit many documents that you use for your visa application, plus your business registration papers, plus your proof of address, and it will then be approved and you will then be asked to collect your carte de séjour when it's ready. So you can see that's going to be a slow process for visa talent. There's much more paperwork than for someone with a visa profession libérale. You dig out your whole dossier, plus your address, plus your business papers. So it means you need to have had registered the business, and for the business, sometimes we might wait for 2 weeks to get the papers. So take some time to do this step. The fourth step is to register your business. The business visa allows you to move to France, but it's not a business license as you would call it in the US. You've been granted the visa to move to France as an entrepreneur with a visa profession libérale or a visa talent, but you then need to go and create that business once you're in France. So make sure you register the business relatively quickly after you move so you can start invoicing and building your official administrative trail in France that will come very handy for your visa renewal. Think about the address that you will use. You'll receive some very important paperwork through postal mail, yes, postal mail, within the first 3 to 4 months, thinking about the affiliation to URSSAF, your health cover. So you want to be able to access these documents, to access the letterbox. And if you've used an Airbnb where you stayed for 1 month, you're going to get stuck. So make sure you have an address that you're going to be using over 6 months. We can't really update your business details until you've received your full health cover document, which can take 4 months, because otherwise you're going to mess it up. Sometimes you don't realize it, but you're moving from one department to another, you mess it up and it's very hard to fix. So don't move. As I said in tip 1, find the address, stay there for 6 months and register the business. Number 5 is to start your French lesson. For the visa profession libérale, you will have to take a French A-level test when you go to the OFI meeting. This means like a beginner's French. And if you fail the test, you'll have to take 100 hours of French lesson. So far, they used to actually give you free French lesson. It looks that this is slowly stopping down. So you might want to book one-to-ones, or you might want to check with Alliance Française and start working on your French. By the time you get to renew your visa profession libérale, you will need to have passed an A1 level, so up to the end of 2025, that's the rule, you need to have passed the A1 French beginners level. That will be enough to renew your business visa. From the 1st of January 2026, you will need to have passed your French A2 level, which is advanced beginner, in order to renew your visa. So you need to have a DELF certificate attestation to confirm that you've passed this test by the time you get to renew your visa. Now, what is the impact of this? If you only pass your A1 level, you'll get a 1-year business visa renewal. Good enough. Now, if you pass the A2 level, you'll be able to actually ask for a pluri-annual renewal, which means you could get 4 years renewal. Now, that's what I call motivation to learn French, because it means fewer trips to the prefecture, far less admin burden of having to prove every year your income and so on. To me, that's a motivation to really work on your French, advanced beginner, so sign up for your French lessons and keep at it. Make sure you take your French DELF test and attestation before your visa renewal appointment. Keep up to date with this section because it tends to be where the immigration law is tightening up. And as we have some French election in 2027, I would expect this is one of the subjects that probably is going to be covered again. Your next to do is to open a bank account dedicated for your business. I've already talked about opening a personal bank account. Now I want you to have a separate one to start running your business and make sure you don't mix the two together. So once you have a brick and mortar bank for your personal account, you could actually go for an online bank if you want to, as long as it's a French IBAN. So the IBAN is the bank account reference, which shows it's a French bank account. So you could go for those online bank accounts like Bourse en Banque, Conto, Revolut, and 26, whichever, or even a normal bank account, that's fine. If you're a micro entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be a professional bank account. It can be a private bank account dedicated for the business. If you have a French incorporated business or entreprise réelle simplifiée, it needs to be a professional bank account. You can still have Wise and PayPal, that's fine for your customers to pay you, but make sure you transfer the money regularly from those accounts to your business bank account. And at the end of the month, you're going to pay yourself, so your business is run through that account dedicated to the business, and you're going to be paying yourself the equivalent, it's not a salary, but you're going to be paying yourself an income and transfer it to your personal bank account, so you can see you using both accounts nicely. You're fully integrated in the French system. When you get to renew your visa, you could be asked to show bank statements from your business account or from your personal bank account, so it's nice to actually have those. And also for business, you always want to avoid using your business account for your personal expenses, so you don't go shopping or pay your personal bills with it, because the same thing, if you had a control from Impôt or URSSAF, it looks messy when you have personal expenses on your business. The next step is for you to create your business online account. You're going to have quite a few online accounts to create, with at least URSSAF to pay your social charges, an Impôt account for your business, a CPM account for your health cover, and you also have a pension and a training fund you can do later on. You're going to be invited to create at least the first 3 by postal mail, so you keep an eye on the postal mail and wait until you receive those to go and create the account. Strangely enough, most people think that Impôt is the most important one. Not really. The most important one is URSSAF, because this is where you will log in every month or quarter to declare your turnover as a micro entrepreneur, and this is going to kick in your health cover setup. So if you want help with this, I'm inviting you to look at Manage Your Micro Entrepreneur, which is my signature course helping new micro entrepreneurs to learn to manage their business, create all their admin on their online accounts, doing their invoicing, their bookkeeping, declaring their turnover online, declaring their income tax, and so on. And as well as the how-to videos in the course, there's a monthly group call where we just catch up and cover the questions that you might have or the trending topics that are coming along in the year. I'll add the link below the video, and you can join Manage Your Micro Entrepreneur anytime. You get full-time access to the course, and you get 1 year support through the monthly group call and the private forum for the students. I wouldn't underestimate the work that has to be done there, and you'll have to put the effort at least for 3 or 4 months to start with. Then you'll have a bit of a breeze, then you'll have another learning curve where you'll have to declare your income tax, so you might become VAT registered. So it's just nice to dedicate some time regularly along the year to work on your business. Next on your to-do list is to follow through your health cover. This process is gonna be very slow. It can take 3 to 4 months, and that's normal, because basically when you create your business, it sends information to Impôt, to URSSAF. Once URSSAF has affiliated you, they send the information to CPM for the health cover, la Sécu. There's an identity check before they start issuing your French social security number, ask you for some documents that you send through postal mail. So all of this going back and forth, 3 to 4 months is normal. Past that, you have to start pulling it through, calling the local CPM office or going to see them and chase it, because you want your health cover to be fully set up for your business visa renewal. It's super important. Number 9 is to complete your business declaration. If you go for a micro entrepreneur business, you'll have to handle monthly or quarterly turnover declaration. Do them diligently and make sure you pay your taxes on time. It will be a major proof of you being self-sufficient in France when you get to renew your visa, because you'll show you've been earning some income regularly with monthly documents, and it looks great. Keep up to date with your French business admin. Design your first French invoice, create your logbook called Livre des Recettes, have a dedicated bank account for your business. If you're going on site, make sure you have a liability insurance. All of those are covered in Manage Your Micro Entrepreneur, and I'll add the link below the video. Also, make sure that the money goes through your business bank account, and every month transfer some money from your business account to your personal account to show your income. You could be asked for those documents when you go for your visa renewal. They could ask for copies of your self-declaration. They could ask for copies of your Livre des Recettes or your invoice or your bank statement. So do them as you go along, so it's nice and tidy. And the 10th must-do is to file your French income tax, impôt sur les revenus. Many people get confused between business taxes and personal taxes. As an entrepreneur, you're paying social charges that goes towards your health, your pension, and you might also, some of you, pay the income tax at source. That's just a facility for the micro-entrepreneur. However, you still have to file your personal taxes. So once a year, in May, we declare to the government how much income we've earned from our business, rental income, pension, and so on. Make sure you file your income tax in France, and in France, it's 1 year after we earn the income. So if you land in France in 2025, your first declaration will be in May 2026. Make sure you get in touch with an accountant to handle this income tax declaration, impôt sur le revenu. If you missed it, it can be fixed. Just send me an email and I'll introduce you to an accountant, but make sure you add in your agenda to file your personal income tax. Now, some people advise you to get your numéro fiscal, which is your personal fiscal number from the tax office, but that can be quite tricky when you're earning nothing because they struggle to give you something if you've got no income. So if you're in France along the year, the fact that you're going to be filing the paper version of your French income tax form will give you at least a first proof that you are filing your income tax. If you're a micro-entrepreneur, often I recommend to go for the income tax at source called impôt libératoire. This way you're already showing to the prefecture that although you haven't filed the yearly declaration, you're starting to pay through your self-declaration. These were the 10 must-do things that I recommend you do for your first business year in France. You can download a copy of the PDF below the video. And if you do those as you go along, by the time you reach the 8th or 9th month in France, you will have collected proof of an effective business and activity in France, and you will have most of the required documents for your business visa renewal, including your official business papers, your URSSAF affiliation letter, your health cover attestation, attestation de couverture santé, the proof of income from a business via your turnover declarations, your bank statement and supporting document, and your French DELF attestation. I usually recommend to also dig out your initial business plan, maybe slightly update it, and add a cover letter to state where you stand today. What have you achieved? What have you done to actually integrate in France? How far are you from your goals, or how well have you done? And ask specifically for pluri-annual renewal if you've done well. And I mean, if you've done well, we want the minimum French SMIC, but if you're way above, that's when you can really ask for a pluri-annual recognition. For more help on how to manage your French business, I recommend joining Manage a Micro-Entrepreneur. I'll add a link below the video, and you might also want to watch this next video.